Hello everyone! Welcome back to another one of John's never-ending list of random things to do. And for today's video, I will be showing you guys how I installed these modern wipers on my 1985 Toyota Celica Supra. Let's get started! Originally, this is what my passenger side looked like. I was missing this entire piece. And this is the driver's side that has a wiper blade that is not removable. I took a quick measurement to see how long this wiper blade was, and I found it to be 18 inches long. I continued to do the same thing on the rear, and this one was 18 inches long as well. So I went online and I ordered these J-hooks, and they fit the passenger side perfectly without any modification. I then went to the rear and removed these two Phillips screws in order to remove the wiper blade. I then proceeded to install the J-hooks that I purchased, and I found out they fit perfectly without any modifications. Now the bad thing about these J-hooks is, after 1 month and a few days of rain, this is what it looked like. So I would highly recommend you repaint these. Out of curiosity, I decided to pull out the driver's side wiper insert. For the particular insert that was installed, there were two tabs that needed to be pressed, and this insert was easily removable. And just to double check, it is 18 inches. Since my main goal is to replace the entire wiper blade and not just the insert, I'm going to remove this screw right here and this screw right here. Once they have been removed, this wiper blade can now be removed. Now we have to do some cutting. You see this little knob right here and this little knob right here? They have to be trimmed completely off. Once they've been cut off, I lightly tapped a flathead screwdriver through here to pry it loose. Alright, let's have a look at what we're working with now. See, now the top piece is loose. Now we just have to remove this end. So I'm just going to grip it and wiggle it and see if it comes out. Alright, that worked. Now I proceeded to do some more cutting. This entire piece right here has to be cut off. This is what it should look like now. Now I'm going to see how the J-hook fits on top of this piece. And the holes are lined up pretty good. But look, I have this gap in between here. So I examined the J-hook to see where I can make some cuts to make it sit flush. Then I did some more cutting. This tab had to come off, and a portion of this end had to be cut off. It should look something like this when you're done. Now let's give it a test fit. Alright, would you look at that? It's sitting flush. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is drill these holes a little bit bigger, using a 3/16 drill bit. So here it is after it's been drilled out, and this side here too. Now just make sure the hole is perfectly aligned, and insert any mounting hardware you prefer. I will be using a rivet. Here we have my final product. I had to cut one of these heads to make them fit. Now that all the hard part is done, it's time for sanding, so I'm just gonna sand these really good. Next was a few layers of primer and a few minutes of drying time in between. Then I flipped it over and applied primer on the other side as well. Once the primer was dry, I applied a few layers of enamel paint and allowed some drying time in between. Then I set it out in the sun and let it bake. I also applied a clear box to protect it from bugs and debris. And this is the result, and man, everything is looking really good. So let's get them installed. Starting here at the driver's side, just put it into place like so, and put in the two screws. Next up is the passenger end. Just apply the J-hook like so, and install the two screws. Now something you want to note is that these J-hook pushes the original mounting point about 1 inch further out. That means I have to get shorter wiper blades. So instead of installing 18-inch wiper blades, these are now 17-inch. The best fitment for the passenger side was a 12-inch wiper blade. Now moving on to the back, go ahead and place the J-hook like so, and put in the two screws. And since these were originally 18-inch wiper blades, they are now 17-inch wiper blades. From here, I didn't like how they were sitting so close to the windowsill, so I ended up loosening this 10mm nut right here. Raise the arm just a few inches and retighten this nut. After everything was already done, I decided to purchase 18-inch wiper blades. On one side of it looks something like this, and all you have to do is pull and it'll come right out. So I decided to take this insert and reinsert it into my original bracket. And to my surprise, it was going in. And it just kept going. And eventually, it went all the way. That does look pretty good. And I did pull it a few times. I wobbled it back and forth as well, and it didn't fall off. So this is a possible choice if you're planning to keep the equipment original. Since these wiper blade inserts came off of an 18-inch wiper blade, this metal piece just barely makes it to the last hook. So I would recommend you get 19-inch wiper blades. That way you can cut it off right here to ensure the metal piece on the insert is gripped by the last hook. Since I had an extra 18-inch wiper blade, I went on ahead and installed it onto the original driver's side wiper blade bracket, and it fit perfectly. Now it's time for a test. We're starting with the rear, and it's looking pretty good. Finally, it's time to test the front. And that's looking really good. These wiper blades are doing a really good job. They're very quiet, and if they ever go bad, I can easily replace them. I hope you all found this video helpful. If you did and you liked it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, maybe even consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys for the next random project.